Does that mean that this is session 60 now?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I'm going to save them, you can have them tomorrow, okay?
Possibly.
No, you can
Right.
have them tomorrow. So.
Let's have a look.
No!
Yeah, I can hear our lass telling the nipper off on the stream. It's going to be amazing.
Hey!
Right, but we're live again, apparently. Right. So, with 0 viewers. Right. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. We play Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, Carbon 2185. We've done other things in the past like Mask, Tales of the Loop, Vampire the Masquerade, and we'll be doing lots more in the future, hopefully. Tonight we're playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th Ed. This is our Tuesday campaign known as Fables Among Titans. We are on social media, things like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. We've got our own Discord, we've got a YouTube channel. All these things you can go and check out and catch up with the last 58 sessions of this campaign and 30 sessions of Carbon, and just go check it out if you want lots and lots of stories told by me and my lovely assistants. Well, the people that carry the channel, and I take credit for it, but it says Evie on the front of it, so I'm taking it. Right, go check them out. We have sponsors. We have Loki Battle Mats, which are award winners, by the way. Every Kickstarter they've ever done has immediately, hit its mark. Funded. Immediately funded. They are incredible at what they do. They make big flip-out books, map books, that you flip out on the table and you've instantly got your dungeons and your towns and your taverns and your wilderness and your arcane circles and forests and sewers and all that good stuff. So go check them out, they're really, really good. They've just done a Kickstarter to do sci-fi stuff, so if you're into that and you game sci-fi genre, then go check them out. Really, really cool. They're just brilliant. And they do digital versions of every single thing that they make in their books. So if you're playing on things like Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, other virtual tabletops, then go check out their digital stuff as well. Really, really, really cool stuff. Coyote Grey, who is responsible for the beautiful stream starting soon cover art. And thank you for watching cover art. Go check him out on the Roll20 marketplace. Just put in Coyote Grey and you'll see all the chibi token packs that he's done. Absolutely amazing. If you go to Twitter and put R Burson in, you'll be able to find him on Twitter. I can do this, I think. R Burson. There you go. They're that on Twitter. Absolutely, I just love their style. I love chibi artwork in general, and I love Robert's chibi style. He's also done personalised tokens for the players, which you'll get to see the very next combat we do. Which, you know, with this lot, could be anytime next week. So, please check out Coyote Grey. We've got Ashana, who may or may not be streaming tonight. I'm not... Whoa, that's loud. It's loud. It's loud. There's people screaming on the TV. It scared me. Yes, so... What was I saying? Go check out Ashana if you haven't already. She's on Instagram, she's on Twitter, she's on Twitch, all under the same name of Ashana, and you'll find that she does incredible glass crafting streams. Super zen, super nerdy as well, so she'll happily talk to you about D&D all day while showing off her incredible skills, making little figurines and miniatures and such out of glass. It's super cool, super zen. Go check her out. Ruffworx Creative. If you go to Facebook or OnlyFans, when he eventually sets it up, and put in Ruffworx Creative, you will discover that the leatherwork and woodwork that this gentleman does is absolutely stunning. And I'm really looking forward to getting the DM screen he made me at the Games Expo this year so people could see it and I could show it off. Yes.
You bringing it to UK Games Expo?
Yeah, I'm going to bring it here. I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to do a little setup thing. It's really cool. And I'm going to lie my ass off about being a DM. It'll be amazing. But yeah, so I'll bring that to the Games Expo so people can see it. And if you want to see it beforehand, you can go see photos and little videos in our Facebook albums. Just check that out. We are not sponsored by Syrinscape, but we use them for all our background ambient music, whether it be our cyberpunk games or our high fantasy games, D&D, Pathfinder, Carbon 2085, etc. They're brilliant at what they do. If you want ambience, they're perfect. If you want ambience around the table, you've got Bluetooth devices, tablets and phones and such. You could play it out. Super cool to have dragons roaring and goblins screeching and just tavern music going on. And if you play online like we do, because we're all over the country, then you can use the web player app, where the person that holds the account plays the music and it goes through all the players' web apps and they can turn it up and down to their heart's content. If you're after source material, we've got Tasha's Heavier Crockpot Bits and Bobs over at DM's Guild. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to read my little spiel. The first major supplement by HWG for... Where is my monkey face? Where's my monkey face? Which one's monkey face on?
Rerolls.
Rerolls, we'll get to that. The first major supplement by HWG for D&D5e has arrived a while ago. Tasha's Heavier Crockpot Bits and Bobs is 81 pages.
A year ago today.
A year ago.
Yeah.
A year ago today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, that's cool.
It has sold 5 million copies. Don't quote me on that.
We should be so lucky.
It's got 81 pages of subclasses, new spells, which are at 80 of, one on each page. Artwork and everything TTRPG a player wants. Find it here for $9.95 on DM's Guild. It's brilliant. It's full of our nerdy friends who've come up with subclasses and spells, etc. We've got other folks that have thrown in artwork that's super cool. It's just great. We've sold at least 200 copies. The 5 million might be a guesstimate, but there's at least 200 sold. So if you're into it and you want more stuff for your games, go check it out. And it's cool to give everyone involved a couple of dollars for helping out, so thank you very much. Rerolls. If you're lunatics and want this lot to succeed in their adventuring and you wish to give them a reroll, or let's put it this way, do you feel sorry for the adventurers? Question mark. Donate 200 bits / cheers to give the party a reroll. Monkey face. They can't be used either on the DM or death saving throws. They can only roll 5 at a time, and they don't roll over to the following week.
And sometimes someone uses 2 of them to basically stop them killing the other player character. It's great.
Sometimes. So yeah, if you're feeling generous enough, throw 200 bits at this lot, they can have a reroll. If you donate 1 bit, I get a reroll. That's not a thing, don't do that. Right, so, do we have anything else? Have I missed anything? Gaffer, Mel? No, am I good?
So...
No, you done Syrinscape.
Syrinscape.
Don't think so.
Boom.
No, I think we're up to recap.
Yes!
That's it.
Let's have a recap.
Woo!
This lovely bunch of coconuts are currently in the cabin in the woods, Grandmother's Lodge, the Jesuit, the Archfey of Autumn, aka the 7-foot satire known as Toodles. They've had some spiced tea. It's been really nice, really nice. Sapphire's done some meditation and has reached out to Sensei Rin, as he is in possession of a wonderful potion that could solve all the world's problems and bring world peace. Definitely not a plot stick. The beautiful Xandria and ever charming Aristotle had a wonderful moment where one of them didn't die and the other one thought about it. Or was at least pushing like mad. Please go check that out. My description will not do it justice, but if you want some deep, cool-ass roleplay, check out last episode, and you'll get to see some. You'll get to see some cool stuff. But it was nice. It was good. They got things out in the air. Things were spoken of that others didn't know. I will say milestones in character development were definitely achieved.
Only taken about 50 sessions. It's fine.
15. Ruby, being the incredible druid that she is helping out with the regrowing of the copper forest itself in the material realm, and using the intertwining ash and oak tree, the first of the forest, as an anchor point. She is currently pumping all her druidic concentration into helping the forest flourish, grow, yield far faster than it would, you assume, if it was left to its own devices. There is plenty of rain in Ravenholm. Who are we missing? Kesvion. Kesvion has decided to give the lance back to the copper forest, and Toodles to discover their own or find a better or new path for the lance, and is currently staring at me. Are you off to bed? Give me a call. Not you, Kes. You can't stare at me. You've got no camera. Sam.
I can stare at you, you just can't stare back.
That is creepy as
True.
fuck.
That's exactly the kind of thing Kess would say as well.
Just while I'm sleeping. Like, Kes.
Like, Kess is still rubbing his
I forgot
knuckles,
that.
isn't he?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kes also punched Harry in some physical roleplay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Sock and one.
There's been a bit of a consensus that Corbin Astaroth, the one responsible for the blood pillars currently stuck in certain places around Ravenholm that were responsible for the absorbing of the Fey essence and their /souls, and a big part of why the Copper Forest eventually fell. It's pretty much agreed, see what Sapphire says when they come out of the meditation, to remove Corbin Astaroth in any way, shape or form. However, Toodles, being the archfey that she is, has given the party the opportunity to visit elsewhere or travel elsewhere using her powers of tree travelling, and able to give them a bit of a different option than slogging it through Ravenholm. Whether they return is entirely up to themselves. Whether they take her up on her offer and actually go anywhere is entirely up to themselves. But for now, players, some of you are in the cabin. Sapphire, you are still meditating. We will come to you first. But we are in. As you took up your meditation, Sapphire, you sat cross-legged on the floor and put out all your incense and your lovely herbs and spices and lit them, and the aroma from the cabin reaching out to you and kind of teasing you a little bit. For a moment, you want to go back and lap it all up because, well, you're Sapphire. Yeah. You sit, you call upon your training, and you just meditate normally. You just relax yourself. It's been a bit of a rush for the last 58 sessions, and you are quite literally bringing yourself to Zen. Hearing his voice shocked me. All right, cool. Right, that scared me as well. Right, we're on back, Cass. Using your key that you have as your training as a monk to allow yourself to do sometimes what would appear supernatural to the common eye. You use it to empower your meditation and reach out to Sensei Rin. As you reach out to Sensei Rin, there is almost the way it feels as if a hand is raised to give you pause, and you can feel the presence of Sensei Rin on the other side of that hand in the air type feeling, and there is noise, murmuring speech. It would appear that Sensei Rin is in conversation with someone, but as this is your meditation and not part of theirs, you don't know what they're saying. A heartbeat passes, maybe 2 hours, you've no idea, but the hand drops, or the feeling of the hand dropping, and you see Sensei Rin before you, and the void of cherry blossom petals behind him, disguising where he may be, but he is in front of you in a ethereal sense, able to communicate via your key-powered meditation. He gives you the nod of etiquette.
And Sapphire returns it. Sorry if I was interrupting something, Sensei.
Merely education.
That's what so many come to you for. Yes, no, I understand that. But I hopefully come with good tidings.
Go on.
So, my mission on this continent was to investigate the echoes and whether that could be used to cure the illness going through Vey.
Correct.
I learned a lot about echoes. I walked through the realm of echoes.
There's no shift at all on your sensei.
He will pause and be like, "Oh, come on, that was cool. Come on. Okay, fine." And as well as potentially opening myself up to a vampiric entity, which I need to investigate more.
The head drops ever so slightly, and then comes back up.
I found this, and he'll reach inside his robes and pull out the potion, which obviously you can't just hand over.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it?
Well, a potion of incredible healing properties, apparently. It was amongst a number of different... The place where we found it, there was a lot of different items that were...
And this was in the realm of echoes, you say?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Have you confirmed the potion's properties?
It was handed to me by a healer of great renown that I trusted. I didn't know her for long, but she kept most of us from dying at several points.
That is good. Do you plan to return soon then? It would seem you have fulfilled your mission, if it is truly as the cleric says. We can put it to use almost straight away, once confirmed by our own people, of course.
I may look into a way to get the potion to you quickly, but I think I'm still needed here.
Why, Sapphire?
Currently, there are wars going on, and while I know that the wars of Ravenholm aren't something that affects Vey directly, there are fiends pouring through a hole in I don't know, reality dimensions.
We are aware of the fiendish conflict between those of Ravenholm.
It's getting worse. The protections that they had are failing, and there are beings here who are manipulating it to make it worse. And I have been informed that once Ravenholm falls, if it is to fall, it will be Viconia that's targeted next.
There is a shift in your senses, posture, aware that you are speaking of home, and a bit of a relaxation of, not relaxation, but a bit of a softness, and less of the formality of sensei and soon to be ex-student. Play your cards, right? And you wish to return home or follow this army?
Well, the group that I found myself with when I arrived here, quite by happenstance, they are investigating this. They are potentially going after the individual that, if taken out of this reality, will curb a lot of this. And if it was just Ravenholm, it may not be such a thing that I would be trying to protect, but if it's going for Viconia as well, then there's only a matter of time before it keeps spreading.
Well, you are trained to defeat fiends and remove them from existence where you find them, Sapphire. As we all are in there. Doesn't seem your path has strayed too far, if I'm honest. If there are fiends to be removed, so shall it be done.
Thank you, Sensei. And I won't, like I said, I won't put you in danger, the people in danger of Vey. I will get this potion to you so it can be studied and hopefully replicated as soon as possible. If it is hopefully what it's supposed to be.
Where do these fiends go if they are successful in Ravenholm and Viconia?
I have no idea where they'd be going next. But if they've taken on Ravenholm and Viconia and all the resources that are present there, I don't see them stopping.
It is incredibly important, Sapphire, that you keep us informed.
Of course. Obviously there is a concern with them swarming in where they are in Ravenholm. I think they had...
Does the wall not hold them back?
The wall has fallen.
You have seen this?
Yeah, I was there when it fell, yes.
Now that is concerning. How fare the eagles?
not incredibly well, if I'm honest with you. I travel with one of them as much as he would probably have pulled away from that when I first met with him. So the responsibility of the Eagles is here with this group as well, and the individual that I believe we'll be hunting next is another realm, an echo of one of the Eagles.
Does Rycroft still stand?
You may have to be more specific.
A grandfather to your eyes.
Sebastian.
Just nods.
OC, I can't remember. Yes, he still stands, right?
No. Sebastian Rycroft is our grandfather who passed. To be fair, right on the cusp of you joining, to be fair, so I'll let you off.
Cool. Then, no, that Rycroft does not stand.
All of the Ivory Angel. Give me an intelligence check. Just to see if Sapphire can actually remember her being referred to as
that. +0. Yeah, 16. 16's not bad.
Okay, that's pretty cool. You can assume quite confidently he's on about Celestina, the winged not Asimar on the wall.
Oh, she stands. She's very impressive. A little bit of a blush about Sapphire's white fur. Yes, and at one point there was an army of, I think, like air elementals at the time.
Well, living great stories, it seems, Sapphire.
Apparently so. Great stories that I seem to be wrapped up in. Less one of my own, but if I can help through them, then I think the work that I'm doing is important for the world.
You feel you feel a pull on more of your key to keep this meditation going.
I should probably conserve myself, Sensei. I will probably end it here. But if I am successful in sending the potion to you, I'll contact you again. I'll let it drop.
You just see the blossom leaves take him from your vision, and you calm, you breathe, you've expelled the key point, and you see about you a glade. The growth around the immediate ash and oak tree that have intertwined together is thick, and you can see copper colours, reds and rusty colours, and oranges and deep browns, all this kind of these small flowers and plants that you've never seen before, couldn't pick out in a book. They are just new and vibrant, in a sense, vibrant with life rather than bright colour. And you can see wherever Ruby is walking, and you can see she's in a similar meditative state as yourself would be. You don't know the words she's uttering, but again, you are aware that just certain sounds help you with your meditation. And where Ruby walks, more of these, this life, this growth, kind of follows her footsteps, and you can see it spreading out ever so slowly, like a creep away from her and away from the centre of the tree. There are a lot of rodent creatures just hanging about near the base of the tree, following Ruby. Every now and then you see them pop in and out of her hair or run over her shoulder, and you can see them again following the creep further out. You notice a lot more. I mean, some time has passed while you've been in this meditative state. You notice that there are multiple fae creatures that fit the stories of horns and wings and bright colours and glitter when they fly or when they move, big and strong and slow moving, but they're kind of spreading out across the forest. You also know see a lot of humans dressed similar, maybe not as fancy as Ari, but they're in the fashion of Ravenholm, and they're interacting, and you see a lot of essentially gardeners spreading out across this grove of human and fae. And you also see fae presenting themselves similar to the way Xandria and Kesvion do in that humanoid shape and pottering around and stuff. Several of the fae and the humans have these copper-coloured tabards on with a silver lance symbology on the front. And you see the young boy Gideon is clearly doing guard duty of Ruby. Anyone who comes anywhere near Ruby, whether they're intending to interrupt or not, Gideon does not let them anywhere near her. You see Toodles just every now and then when you look. Whenever you think, oh, I wonder where Toodles is, you just see her walking through the forest and then forget about it and you can't see her again. And then when you think again, and she pops up like this. Right about where you are now, Xandria and Ari and Kesvion are in the hut, and you can kind of see them flittering past. Where it is time-wise, you three have just opened the chest, getting your items. Toodles has told you she can send you where you need to go. You are also aware, Sapphire, that there is a time bubble kind of held in place by Toodles to allow you a day for yourselves. So it won't affect the material time too much, just to allow you that breathing space. So, 3, 2, 1, we will go from there. Sapphire, what do you do? You're fully compass mentis.
Apologies if you can hear the hand blender going in the background. Oh, it's just finished. Good.
It's cool.
I muted myself.
There's a giant wasp. Roll initiative.
Diabetes, man. So Sapphire will gather up his like the things that he uses for his meditations, pack them away into his satchel. He'll walk over to the tree and take a moment and bow to it, give it respects. He'll start heading towards the hut, and just a big grin over at Gideon, like makes an air ruffle kind of thing. Like, hi, good job. Like he's very proud of him. And hopefully embarrasses him a little bit as Sapphire will head into the hut to see the other three.
You do indeed see the other three.
How long was I out?
Undescripted amount of time.
Well,
I suppose it matters less here.
Hence why I said.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I was just updating my master. Hopefully I can get this potion to them. So what's the plan then? Are we going after Evil Eagle, or are we leaving that for now, or?
There's something for you in the chest. We all received gifts. And there's...
Oh, okay. Sapphire's distracted. We'll go over to the chest and see what's in there. It's Christmas.
As you pop open the chest, there is a lock of blonde hair on a pillow.
You will...
You reach
Yeah.
for the lock that Kalain gave you, and it's not there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, pats his hair a little bit. Oh, okay. Goes, like, picks it up, takes out the pillow as well. Not sure if this is part of the gift.
You immediately tune to the lock of hair, not the pillow. And the pillow's the true magic. It's a Vorpal pillow.
purple pillow.
You attune to the lock of hair, and it is exactly as the gift once was. A permanent gift for yourself.
Braids it back in on the opposite side to the bit of Soul Taker's hair that he's got on the other side now.
Just collecting hair, you weirdo.
It's just like in amongst the Viking beads and stuff. Yeah.
Leave my hair alone.
Very presumptuous that anyone would want any Ari, but sure.
I mean, you can have some of Ruby's if you like, but it's crunchy.
You gotta find it first.
Aw.
So,
Okay.
the four of you are in the hut. Ruby is in full swing of the 8-hour spell she's casting. Toodles has offered you all, Sapphire, you will know this as well, the opportunity to use her powers of tree walking, if you so wish. She can also recall you if you wish to return, but that is a choice that you can make yourselves.
I suppose in the grand scheme of things, Sapphire, I think we have decided to go after Corbin first.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
Whether or not we want to make use of the Jesuits' offer, we haven't discussed yet.
It would be a way for Sapphire to get his potion where he needs to go.
That is true.
And you wanted to check in with your home, didn't you?
It would be nice, but I think getting that potion to your people is more important.
I think from what Toodles was saying, they can hold the time thing as long as they need to, so could potentially do both.
Both is good. I don't plan on doing anything in Vey other than handing over the potion, letting them investigate, and coming straight back. I've told my sensei I have work to do here, and managed to mention the fiends a lot so that he kind of didn't think that was a problem. It's kind of what we did back then, was kill fiends, and we've got an army of fiends coming through.
That they do.
So yeah, all I want to do is hand Sensei my potion, and so they can start curing people. Beyond that, I'm happy to do whatever you need to.
I mean, do we even know where they would be settled at best at the moment?
No. Not that I can think of.
Give me a history check. Both of you.
Can do.
It's history. Yeah, it's an intelligence, isn't it?
I rolled okay, but can't
Yeah.
wait to remember what my minus is to history. That is a 17.
I got a 16.
Cool. Midwinter usually takes the path of your tribe on the southern borders of Potamia.
Okay.
So you could have a rough guess. And also, Toodles is an archfey of autumn. She can definitely send you to the Oasis of Summer and straight
And you
to
can go
your
from
farm.
there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I suppose if worse comes to worse, we could just go straight to the Oasis and then from there. That would probably be the easiest route. And I suppose it would give me a chance to check in with Malika.
Just checking. Hi, boss.
Boss.
Funny story.
I died.
It would be nice to feel the heat again.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. If anything, I would just like to feel the sun on my skin and the sand in between my toes. If
Sapphire's
just for a
looking at
moment.
them like they're insane. Just like,
Just for a
Hey.
moment.
Oh, is Ari
What?
like?
oh, in this fair? Get fucked. No, the Oasis sounds like a good idea. Sapphire will. I think you both deserve it. You've both been through a lot, and yeah, if time in the outside of the forest isn't passing anyway, we're not losing anything by going there first.
I just worry about us leaving Ruby here.
Well, we
She
can-
could
Oh,
do with
Ruby's gonna be pissed if she found out she missed on a trip to the summer Oasis.
You're in a spell, shut up.
Imagine she comes out in a spell and was like, we went to the Oasis, we went to Vey, we went to the...
We went
met
and saw
Santa
your
Claus.
mum. She
Corbin's
would
dead.
beat you all to death with the staff of healing.
We're all level 20 now.
Think
Hi, sorry, we killed the red lady while you were doing your spell.
We're all gods now.
I think definitely popping the potion up to your sensei while we have the chance to,
This is
as
smart.
early as possible, It's very smart to do.
And we can always wait for Ruby's spell to finish before we go. It is supposed to take, what, 8 hours, I think she said?
To be
Yes.
honest,
So
8
we
hours
can
of
just
rest
wait.
isn't painful. We've
it's not.
not had a rest in, like a proper rest in a few days now. Even when we have stopped, it's felt like we're just waiting to get going again.
Okay, well, why don't we do that then? We wait, we rest for Ruby to finish her spell. Then we ask the Jesuit if she can pop us quickly to Vey to hand the potion over to Sapphire Sensei, and then if she can pop us very quickly over to the Oasis of Summer, then we
If
can check in
it's-
there.
I don't know how much it would take for her to transport that
Well,
many of
this-
us, but
This is
even
why
if
I said,
Sapphire was just able to drop through the potion, then as much as I would love to see Vey with my own eyes,
yes, whatever the Jesuit can provide within her power, that is what we shall try and do.
At the many
I think-
mentions of Toodles/Jesuit, there was a knock on the door. Are you all decent? And a little bit of a giggle.
Sapphire goes, no, but we're dressed.
Wow. There's another little giggle, and Jesuit walks in. How are you all doing? Oh, I see you have the gifts. That's good. Ruby's doing a outstanding job, and kind of just looks out the window.
she's truly talented.
So about
Just gonna keep doing spells so I can just listen to you say all nice things about me.
yeah, as soon as you finish that, Ruby, Jeremiah's dead. So my offer.
I will go on a Liam Neeson style revenge spree. Not in the game, in real life.
Killing everyone.
I can believe that. Anyway,
You what is the term? My ears were burning.
oh, apologies, Jesuit. We were just discussing where we should go if we take up your very generous offer to travel, and in what order and how many times we can and how many people can go.
All of you, one of you, and as many times as I so deem it. Until I pass out. Whichever comes first.
Well, hopefully you will not pass out. We don't hope to travel that many times. But we were hoping that once Ruby finishes her spell, that we could potentially all head off to Vey to visit Sapphire Sensei to drop off the potion that is going to help their people.
Definitely. So are you to rest while Ruby continues?
That is the plan.
And again she gestures. Sapphire, you've only just noticed that there's now a sort of annex on the cabin that is not there from the outside, and there are 6, maybe 8 cot beds, all grown from the forest itself, looking very comfortable and inviting. Some are circular, with a little dip in the side, a bit like a cat bed.
Rest is good. Are there any snacks? Sapphire is literally asking.
There are a lot of snacks in the cabin itself. Dried fruits, mainly apricots. Cats love that.
Yeah, he's not going to go just yet, but like his eyes are shifting
Rest-
to the food quite a lot.
Rest when you so wish. I will watch over Ruby and make sure she is also experiencing the rest she needs.
Our thanks, Jesuit.
And the Jesuit gives you all a low bow and takes her massive, wonderful satire self out of the cabin. What are you four doing? You actually getting rest, or have you still got chimwagging to do?
I'm gonna go sleep.
No, Zandria's just like, and with that gone. No words, just gone.
Yeah, I said enough talking.
100%. Sapphire's going to scoop up some of the dried fruits and stuff, go and settle down.
And eat in bed, you animal.
Yeah, it's Sapphire. I can't stand it. Sapphire, do it.
Escapism at its best. Cool. You all four of you fall asleep as if it's just perfect. No stresses in the world. It is as if the Jezerite herself is giving you a lovely cuddle and laying you down to rest. Ruby, you've been in the trance and kind of an out of body experience during this 8-hour monolithic spell, and you are aware that your body is feeling the toll of it for something that you normally call upon nature itself and your luckily ability to wield druidic magics to get it done quickly and usually affect a small area pretty fast for almost, it does its job there and then. But what you've taken on is indeed, monolithic. So I would like you to do a Constitution saving throw, please, as you hit the 4-hour mark, or at least what your body feels to be the 4-hour mark.
Let's try one of my new goth dice. What is my constitution? That's a good question.
Constitution save, so there'll be a specific modifier.
That is a 16.
16? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You are sort of aware of what's going on. It's all very muted. You're kind of concentrating on yourself. You're staring at yourself from above yourself. And you can see the almost like the life force of the growth, the plants, the forestry that yourself is actually trying to cast, and you're kind of getting this strange like blueprint, green print, if you would, of the magic and the spell reaching out like neon green veins throughout the forest. How far they reach off into the forest, you're not quite sure because you can't look too far. You keep coming back to yourself and making sure that watching yourself do the spell and making sure you're doing it correctly is a strange sort of situation to be in. But so far, Ruby's been like, this is how the spell's cast. That's normal. This is how the spell's cast. You have no experience outside it to think otherwise. About the 6-hour mark, you notice that the Jezerite comes into focus a lot more, and you kind of see that she's there, and then you carry on concentrating on the two of yourselves, and you just acknowledge that the Jezerite's about. But at this 6-hour mark, you notice that you don't know when it happened during your quick looking around and seeing the green veins like dig deep into the forest, wrap around the oak and the ash intertwined tree, and as they reach out, and you can see the spirits of the animals rather than the animals themselves rocking around, climbing up over yourself doing the spell and running up the oak and ash and then running out across the forest itself. You go higher and higher. You don't feel yourself going higher and higher, you just acknowledge that you are now higher, and you can see out across the thousands of miles of forest that is Ravenholm. And you can see now in between, and you see where the green reaches out and the veins reaches out, and then you see pulsing red in the forest, spread out all across it, thousands of miles of forest, thousands from top to bottom, left to right. You can see 6, 7, maybe 8 of these pulsing red energy presences that your green won't go near. Can you give me a wisdom saving throw, please?
I can. If I... A wisdom saving?
Yes, please.
Is a nat 20.
Shit the bed. As you focus and you feel anger building, as you focus on these red pulsing lights, the light starts to subside and disappear, fade away, completely gone, leaving the image of an enormous spike in the ground as if it's been hit there by a giant. Pulsing red veins reach all around this giant spike, and you can see within the same spirit, the same essences that you see of the creatures and the fae all about you and the humans that are gardening around the glade and such. You now see them all contained, bubbling up, smashed and crushed and squashed inside these spikes, contained within, all moving around, bouncing around like a maraca that's overfilled with the pip seeds that are in it. Probably not enough space. If you did shake it, it would make noise. But you can see contained within these spikes very obvious Fey essence, Fey spirit, the magical spirit rather than the ghosty spirit.
Mhm.
And you see now that all these spikes clear the red gone. There is 8 of these spikes throughout Ravenholm, still wedged in the ground as if a giant smashed them through. You're now reaching the end, the 8-hour mark. You can feel you can feel the sound of beating wings. And you look to your right and left and you see very large golden feathered wings. And they start gold at the top and slowly fade to white. And they're yours, keeping you above in the air. You're not necessarily flying. You feel that if the wings weren't there, you'd still be this high above Ravenholm. And you see out now from Ravenholm and you look east to where the Towan Highlands are across Heroes Rome. And you see what people were telling you, or trying to explain to you about the fire and ice that you crossed, or should have crossed, or should remember crossing. From here, there's not a lot of detail, but you see glacial mountains, tundras of pure arcane ice rather than natural. You see the fire mingling with it and kind of in a bastardized version of a yin-yang sort of image. If you were bird's eye on it, it looks like it is a corrupted version of that particular piece of art of ice and fire. And you are very aware that both elements are strong in their arcane presence rather than their natural presence. And slightly north of that fire and ice corruption, there is a vast land that is forested. You see ruins of old towns and possibly cities. You see the Pride Mountains to the north, massive, like dragon's teeth in a small child's garden in comparison to size to the rest of the land around them. You see the lands to the north. You can only assume Sapphire is from one of them when he's mentioned it. You have very little knowledge of Viconia and Savai. But you see the highlands rolling. Again, they are a chunky piece of landmass on this continent. And you can see, again, not the detail, but the rolls and the slight dips. And you can have a smile where, you know, you actually think you know where certain parts of it are. You look back down, and the next thing you know, you're about 3 feet above your actual self again. And you can see now that the veins are vibrant green. They are real, taking hold of the roots. They're mingling with the roots of the ash and the oak. And you can see it, growth, masses of it. Trees sprouting up that are now maybe 6 months old compared to the little saplings they were when the humans and the Fae were doing their little bit of gardening. You can see now that the Fae and the gardeners are moving on to the next part, and they're moving further away from the ash and the oak where they tend younger life that's growing up through the soil. At your final 8-hour mark, the final casting of the spell, can you give me another Constitution saving throw?
Liking the ladybirds, we'll go with them again. What's my... I think that is an 8... Nope, sorry, a 6.
A 6?
A 17 total.
All right.
Sorry, I was trying to maths and remember what I'd rolled.
That's a 6?
Ruin it all then. No, it's a 17 total.
Cool. The spell ends. You lose 10 hit points. Yep.
Permanently, or?
You've no idea. You lose 10 hit points. You gain permanently an increase in your wisdom 1. So up your wisdom by 1. That was the worst sentence I've ever said in my life. 1 wisdom increase in. So you're currently 10 hit points down, but your wisdom is permanently raised by 1.
Okay. Just anyone off the top of their head, if someone goes up from 17 to 18 wisdom,
You're now at plus 4.
Nice. Alright,
Which
carry on. I'm
means
just
your
going to keep
wisdom-
adding numbers to things.
It means your wisdom save. Or do you know, if you know the rest, that's fine. Your wisdom save will go up by 1 as well.
Another unit
Plus
check.
7 to wisdom saving throw.
And then all your skills you can do yourself. But if they're wisdom,
Plus 8
they're
to
obviously...
animal
Yeah.
And you
So-
spellcasting as well.
handling.
So yeah, so your spell
I'll
casting's
get
up.
to that.
So, while you're doing that,
Oh, good news, lads. That's a +4 on medicine checks now.
boom.
Hey.
Yay.
While you're doing that, Ruby, you now
Yeah.
become one with yourself. There you go. You kind of stumble forwards. The magic gone from you into the forest around you, and for a brief second, you see a complete mix of the fair copper trees that you saw, the copper bark trees, when you were in the Fair Realm, and the natural dark, murky greens and browns of the material forest of Ravenholm. You now see them overlapping. Almost a premonition rather than happening in the now. And the Jezerite is stood 5 feet from you, beaming. Her fur on her cheeks is bright rosy red. Her eyes are wide, and she looks in absolute awe. Simply like a child seeing a brand new rocking horse or pudding coming out after dinner. Toodles, the Jezerite, the Archfey of Autumn, is completely in love with the magic you just weaved. And she drops to her knees in front of you, which probably brings her about eye line. She's 7 foot. She takes your hands in hers, and you just feel the warmth of family, of when you're sat round the fire with your brothers, your mother, your father, Kai jumping up at your face. You just feel that. You just feel that. And it is at that moment when your wisdom is increased.
What? Basically, after that, Ruby yawns and then, like, just in a very childlike manner, just puts her arms around Toodle's neck and just. Ugh.
Toodles stands up with you and cradles you as a child. She puts her finger on your forehead, and you pass out into a perfect sleep. You can all have a long rest if you haven't already.
Nice.
And you all see Toodles murder Ruby in her sleep.
No.
There she goes.
You all wake after your long rest, all in the cot beds, Ruby including yourself. It is night time. It is still the autumn forest that you were in moments ago. The winter that is surrounding this glade does not touch it. But it is nightfall, your current time. You can hear movement in the cabin. You look from that annex that clearly wasn't there before, and wizards did it. But you can see Toodles pottering around the kitchen area of the cabin. And you can smell a hot sweetness in the air. You're all awake. I hope.
Xandria is obviously already technically awake, has been for some
4
time.
hours.
Yep. So actually, Xandria is not long after she awoke, 4 hours ahead of everyone else. She just went and sat back, sort of in like what I'm assuming is the living room area with the fire and everything, and was just kind of just sat peacefully, just kind of like willfully staring off into space. So that's where the others will find her when they finally wake.
Jezerite came in not long ago and has not interrupted your staring.
There.
What do the rest of you do? Do you join Xandria?
I mean, Ruby slept like a teenager.
Dead.
So
Half on
yeah,
the floor.
Yeah.
basically, so it's the kind of like the body is upright,
But the face is still on the bed.
movement is happening, but you're getting sort of like grunts and shuffling and
As
no wake yet. Maybe after some tea you might get something useful out of her, but
I was gonna say, like, Ari actually kind of sees that and actually thinks, Maybe I should go and put a pot of tea on.
So much there for Sapphire too. Yeah.
Ruby's taught
Maybe
you
the boys
way,
go and put
folks.
some tea on.
Yeah, we'll go put tea
You're
on.
not going through her bag again to find the tea. Not after the last time you went through her bag.
So, as you join Toodles in the kitchen area and quite clearly looking to make tea, Toodles steps aside and allows the boys to make tea. And you're all now
I promise it'd be good tea, but you know.
in the living room area, and Toodles sits in a large rocking chair and is knitting while you make the tea.
Oh my god.
At any
This is
point
horrible.
you look down, Harriet and Sapphire, you are wearing aprons with the colours of autumn.
Oh my god. Beautiful.
We're doing the domestic AU episode, is
We
that
are
what
now.
we're doing?
Coffee shop boys.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
finally
one
hit the
shot.
AU.
There's a one shot. So, as I said to Xandria a moment ago, she kind of smiles to herself. I can send all of you, or one of you, to multiple places across Colossus, and recall or allow you to recall yourselves, if you so wish. If you wish
That
to
gets-
stay wherever you go, that
Gets
is
a
also.
little bit more wakefulness out of Ruby. She doesn't actually say anything, but that's clearly lit up
Yeah, to be fair,
light
Ruby's
in the
completely missed
summer.
all of this by
yeah.
summoning
But
the Ents.
you can go anywhere and not lose any time, and you know I'll send you wherever you want. Just it switches on one of the lights, not a key light.
Just the porch light. The
Yeah.
porch light's
Yeah.
on. Garage lights just come on. Cats run past.
Mm.
So have you thought more on it? Just looking at you all. That's a good look, Jade. The swept over hair. Whoa.
I was just trying to get it out of my fucking eye.
Looks good. Looks good. Keep it. I like it.
Sapphire.
Watch her shave her head now, just out of spite.
I've been complimented, must remove.
Think Beth. It's not my fault, Beth.
Yeah, Sapphire will kind of look around sheepishly a bit and then go, I think we decided to pop to Vey, but only for a short time. I just want to drop off my the potion that I found.
All of you, or just the deliverer?
Sapphire will look around at the others. Anyone want to see Vey quickly?
Like, she's
This is
Still-
Vey. Here's the potion. Bye.
But yeah, Ruby will actually raise a hand because again, not awake enough to do talking or words, but it gets through enough that her natural curiosity is like a new place.
I think Drea and I were really hoping to visit home briefly.
I
So
can
we're,
also be.
we're happy to wait to conserve energy.
Do you
Sapphire
wish-
suddenly looks a little bit embarrassed and looks at Toodles. Oh, is it gonna, like, I can go by myself to Vey. I'm literally just dropping off a potion. It doesn't need to be all of us. He's suddenly embarrassed because he didn't even think of that.
The amount of people will not drain on my power, just the amount of times you wish to travel.
I think we were talking about at least Vey and back, and then the Summer Oasis and back.
That is merely 2 castings for myself. The recalling is down to yourselves rather than I.
How many castings can you do?
I don't know.
Because that Ruby's got that kind of, I really want us to go home, but I've just been told that it is a bit of an imposition, possibly, so I don't want to ask.
I've not been an archfey long enough, I'm afraid, to test. She kind of just looks at you all while you all sit there quietly making
Is there
tea.
anything we can do to help?
Are you asking Toodles?
Mm.
With what?
Casting, the recovery,
It is merely a spell that I knew before the Jesuit passed over. I suppose I'm the Jesuit now, but you see my point. Ruby, if she stays the path, will also be able to cast such a spell, or at least a version of.
You make a portal in a tree and it opens in another tree where you want it. I can do that.
You can.
That's like a 4th level spell, genuinely. Ruby can do that. So she's like, yeah, I saw you do it last time, I can do that.
But can you recall then?
Open a new portal to another tree?
I don't have to open a new portal.
No, you said, can I recall? I don't know if it like reverses or anything.
It does not
but
reverse.
If we're in Vey and I want to come here, I can do that.
Yes, so it will take more of yourself to cast, as you will have to cast it again to come back. Yours is one way. I'm able to allow it for you to bring yourselves back, so therefore save on my casting.
I see.
Perks of the job.
Sapphire it starts handing out the tea. That was right. Well, I don't want to sound selfish, but they, I think, is important. And so why don't we? Oh, but it's also really important that people see their families. And you died, and you haven't even gotten to go home yet. And
it is not an issue. It is my resource. It is my wish to send you where you wish to go.
Ruby is just
I will simply rest.
Downs the tea and just goes, right, we're going to Vey then. The tea works. Ruby's back. And I make a decision.
Toodles just strokes the wooden wall next to her. And you see, as similar to when you cut a tree and you see the rings of the tree, that's what you see on the wall. And they sort of get more and more and more and more. And you can now see it shimmer. And Sapphire, you recognise the building through the shimmer as the Temple of the Hawaii.
You can see Sapphire gets a little emotional for a moment. It wasn't even all that long he left, but it feels like so much has happened.
It's been months.
I know.
Sapphire's actually been away about 4 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
autumn
We're
into
in the
winter.
realm of echoes.
Oh yeah, we were. Yeah, okay. Sapphire does well up a bit and kind of looks at everyone, looks at the portal, and is he just shuffles
I
through.
was following on behind.
Who's the last person through?
Probably Cass then, if they power through first.
Before you go through, Kess, as everyone else disappears, Toodles just taps your shoulder. You are the one that recalls. Simply stroke the tree, and she smiles, and it will allow you back to the cabin.
Understood.
And as you pop through the portal, you all appear in a yard filled with blossom trees. There is a massive temple with a domed roof covered in divine and arcane glyphs of both divination and abjuration. No checks are needed, no focus is needed. All 5 of you are fully aware they are of a divine and abjuration nature. There are white walls and sloping rooftops. The rooftops are of many greens. Behind it are the high cliffs with several waterfalls that flow down to the rivers at the base of the mountain from where this temple is. The blossom gardens that you are in full bloom, and the harmonic pinks, greens and whites dominate everyone's periphery. The tree you have all just stepped from is an apple blossom tree, and only to Kesvion there is a mark upon it that makes sense from what the Jesuit said to you as you pass through. There are several yards in between the gardens that do not have plants and trees and other things in them. They are spaces akin to that you would have used in the desert, or small pens that you may have used in the Highlands, but there is no fencing around them. But they are filled with elves, tabaxi, catfolk, less similar to Sapphire. They are shorter and more stout. They have thick grey fur. the Goliaths that are there have a very pale blue skin to them. There are a few of the Goliaths that have a red tinge, a red pigment to their skin. And they are all going through what seems to be ritualistic training methods with weapons in hands, or just using their body. Or there are moments where they are going through a almost Tai Chi type style of movement. Very, very clear to Kesvion and Xandria. You see these things with your own tribes, as they are quite martially your tribes in their role of protecting the realm. There are the stereotypical grunts and expelling of air real fast, the whole "hey" as people are breathing out and doing their routines. The magics that's wielded, they're casting fluid movements. They follow the movements of those that are doing the patterns with their body or with their weapons. Music can be heard all around, as if it's coming from the very trees itself. Blossom petals of pinks and deeper pinks, reds, whites, whites with a slight green tinge, all float around you, flutter about. For a moment, they look like butterflies on a canvas of waterfall and mountain. Stood in the doorway of this massive temple. It's very square, is the temple. It's not your standard circular and then the domed roof, but it's got a square build to it, and then two towers that are again squared off, very cornered, and then the domed roof on top of each tower with these arcane and divine glyphs. Stood in the doorway, talking to somebody you recognise, Sapphire. You see an elf that does appear old, or at least old for even you fair folk. You can tell that they are an elder elf in comparison to the other elves about them. They are in similar clothing to Sapphire and what Daelfin used to wear, that kimono that is across. It is plain, no pattern on it. It's just base pink, and there is a dark red belt tied around the waist. No sign of weaponry, no adventurer's pack. Just an elder elf talking with a younger elf. Now the younger elf has a pair of glasses on, very thin rimmed. They are covered in a bandolier that have portions on it. The belt has portions on it, various colours, greens and reds and blues in all these portions. 2 or 3 thick leather-bound books, again on like the belt and such. A sled type, I say vehicle, but like there's a sled behind them with several books on it that appears to be wheeled. You see, talking to Sensei Rin, Sapphire, your good friend Sai Surin.
Oh, it might be Sai.
And you are maybe 50 feet, 60 feet from the actual doorway. You've just stepped out of an apple blossom tree into the yard. Nobody bats an eyelid.
Sapphire looks around for a moment, almost expecting someone to react to these 5 just appearing in the garden. No one seems to react. And he'll just kind of quite loudly go, "Wow, security has just gotten awful these past few months."
Everyone who's in pattern mode, as it were, carries on. There are a couple. There is a Goliath and an elf sat to the side, just taking a drink. They're heavily sweating. They are wearing enough to cover modesty, but not any armour or anything like this. From the looks of it, the hand wraps they've got around their forearms and their shins, they've been sparring in hand to hand. The Goliath is of a red pigment to their skin, and the elf, their hair appears to be a dark brown, and they've added red to it. The red that is in the hair is artificial rather than natural. And they just look across to you, and the Goliath looks you up and down. "There's no way you're still alive." as it walks towards you. You recognise them, but you don't recall their name. And they just hold out their arm, forearm, as in forearm to forearm shake.
Yeah, Sapphire will grab it and it was touch and go for a little bit of it, but
How many lives do they say the cats have? And then the elf jumps back. Just hasn't got up, still drinking. That one's at least 3 down.
oh, you know me. It'll take a lot more than an invasion of fiends to. Yeah, it's been a weird time.
The Goliath looks back at the elf. He's not changed a bit. Pats you on the back quite hard. You don't move. You're a very large lion. Even from the Goliath, you feel the thud. The Goliath accepts the thud, nods and walks back over to the elf, and they both sit down and they carry on drinking from the water that look like three spheres sat on top of each other.
Sapphire looks around to the rest of the group and goes, welcome, I guess. This is the temple where I was taught how to do what I do.
Ruby has been
Beautiful.
completely oblivious to everything because trees, and she's not seen trees like this before.
You have not.
So she's just.
There are no blossoms
So
in the
I mean,
Highlands.
she's probably seen apple trees, to be fair, but all these like different and like such a vast orchard. So
It's
she's
not
just
an
like,
apple tree. It's an
"Sapphire,
apple
your
blossom
trees?"
tree. So there's no apples on the tree. It's an apple.
No,
blossom
because
tree.
it's not autumn. Because it's blossom season, not fruit season. So yeah, yeah. Like when she's welcome, she's just like, Sapphire, your trees, and she's just like, like if she had a camera, it would just be like full tourist
As Ruby's
mode.
moving around, what you lot notice is the fluttering blossom petals that are kind of just all about you, as if they're on free will, kind of follow Ruby's movements, as if she swept her arm really fast and then swept them up, but they kind of stay with her. She doesn't notice it, but you.
She's a
lot,
whole anime.
She's full on anime. She with oblivious anime is what we're calling it. It'll be on
Massive
Netflix next
eyes.
year. Massive eyes. Oblivious anime season 1 next week.
Yeah, so I guess welcome today. That was a long. I wish I had made the journey like that when I came to Ravenholm. I guess.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you can see how they, took me from being like Soul Taker and made me a bit different. But yeah, I guess, I can introduce you to Sensei Rin and Saisurin. They're both over there, and just kind of starts walking towards the temple.
As you walk towards the temple,
Do you catch Ruby and take her with you because she's?
Yeah, you know what? He won't even like look at her. He just kind of hooks his arm in hers and just starts walking.
this way. Come on, this way.
Like, yeah, 100% gets what Ruby's all about because, yeah, legit. But yeah, come this way now.
As you approach Sensei Rin, both of them, Sensei Rin and Saisurin, acknowledge that you are there, but they are mid-conversation, and it would be rude to stop that conversation and suddenly start talking to yourselves. Sensei Rin has the attention. Saisurin has the attention of Sensei Rin, and is clearly on a bit of a monologue when you approach. Sapphire, you know that it is polite to just give them their space, but you are all within hearing distance. The conversation goes along the lines of Saisurin speaking of a new ritual that they have learned and that they've almost perfected, and you are picking this up in bits rather than clear spoken word. There is the odd moment where it slips into Elvish, that if you speak it, you pick it up. If you don't, you can kind of piece things together. But essentially, Saisurin has come up with a new ritual that they've recently learned and almost perfected. They are able to touch a creature's soul using their key, using as in Saisurin's own key, to experience its memories all the way back to its creation. So even before birth, if such a creature existed. And from the sounds of it, Sai is asking Sensei if he can test it on a fiend, so they may know the knowledge of the fiend's origins and use it against them. No shock to you, Sapphire, this is what they learn. But the Sensei speaks of fiends and the soul that a fiend has, if it can be called such a thing, for it is a very different entity than those of the material realm. Those in the material realm, it is very common knowledge that creatures that take breath have souls, have spirits, have an essence that is very akin to the other. However, fiends, whatever it is that you could determine as their soul, is closely linked to something that Sensei Rin refers as the blood arcanum. Saisarin nods, accepts that Sensei Rin is ending the conversation with that food for thought, and they both turn to yourself. Sensei Rin bows, Saisarin bows, and Sensei speaks. Welcome home, Sapphire, and welcome to your friends. Welcome to the Temple of the Hawa.
Sapphire's like fighting the urge, like bows very politely, is fighting the urge to go hug. Wouldn't do that to the sensei, would definitely do it to Sai.
Give me an insight. I'm going to do an insight check and see if I notice that you're fighting the urge to hug. Are you fighting the urge to hug Sensei, or are you fighting the urge to hug Sai?
Fighting the urge to hug Sai. Probably would hug Sensei, but doesn't, like, not in front of other people. That would be disrespectful.
Okay, so you're fighting it for Sai. So you give me a deception or a... Give me a deception check.
-1, okay.
Okay.
And I rolled a 2, so a total of 1.
Wow. An unnatural one.
Nice.
I know. Oh.
Totally trying to hide it,
So as you're really trying to hide your hug,
It's like stumping his feet, like, oh.
Sensei kind of turns sideways and just nods at Sai, and Saisarin steps forward, and you get the signal, and you both just embrace.
Yes.
You are much larger than your elven friend, and for you lot, you almost see this glass-wearing, bottle-carrying elf disappear in a mass of Viconian, Leon, and battle monk barbarian of death, but lovely and squishy. He steps back. It's good to see you, old friend.
You too? You haven't slacked in your work on souls?
Adjusts his glasses. Yes, souls, and looks at Sensei Rin. You may speak freely. Yes, so... Yeah, well, I don't know how much of that you heard, but it's quite extraordinary, really. I can use our key to what is the best way to have a conversation with the soul. Not a conversation, more of a request of the soul's history, of its timeline, of where it was, where it is now. Not going forwards like that. It's not divination as such. It's more of a peek. The soul remembers everything. Everything, Sapphire. Absolutely everything. It is beautiful. Some of the I don't want to call them test subjects, but some of the creatures I've worked with. Some volunteered, yes. Sorry, and he just kind of looks at you.
Sapphire suddenly looks embarrassed.
So does Saisarin as he lays eyes on Zandria.
So he points to Sai, points to the Sensei. Saisarin, Sensei Rin.
They nod.
This is Zandria, and Kesfion, and this is Ruby, and this is Ari.
Sais very awkwardly bows to Ruby and very awkwardly bows to Zandria, less awkwardly to Ari and less awkwardly to Kes. Sensei, perfect form.
Oh no, he doesn't know how to interact with women.
No, he's also an anime trope.
Oh no.
Look, I've just
Oh no, he's an otaku. Oh.
I was more just thinking he's going to get eaten alive.
Oh shit! Does that make if these are all otaku? Does that make Sapphire a weeb?
Yep.
Yeah.
You chose to have him convey, my friend.
You're the like the tweens that just go to like the first convention and buy the cat ears and the cat paws,
Oh my god.
thinking they're adorable and quiet, running around the convention going, yeah. That's
Right.
you.
Trying to swap out the Iron Rebuke for a Yowie paddle.
So,
And on that note,
3, 2,
moving
1,
swiftly
back
on.
in the room.
Okay.
Like when Ruby's introduced, she gives them like a really enthusiastic wave, but she's still more interested like the
That's so cute.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
like the little fluttery petals and the. Am I gone again?
Only a little bit.
Only
Back
a little
now.
bit. You're back now.
Okay.
We got
Yeah.
it though. It came, or at least it came from my end. You're more Ruby's more concerned about the fluttering butterfly petals all
Yeah.
about it.
Enthusiastic wave, but they're not trees, so they're not particularly interesting right now.
Sorry to show up unannounced, especially as it was only a short time ago I was speaking with you, Sensei, but I thought it important, and we seem to have made friends with some very high skills. And he reaches into his robes and pulls out the potion, unwraps it because he's wrapped it in like a lot of fabric to keep it safe.
Syrin looks at the potion. Is this the potion? And looks at Sensei, looks at you, looks at Sensei, looks at you. Sensei nods. Well, looks at you and nods.
As he was kind of holding it out towards Sensei, he kind of redirects that.
Syrin takes it. Yes, and just you see now the lens of his glasses. There's a shimmer of green across them, and he's staring at the potion.
Oh, we've lost him in the same way we lost Ruby when she looks at trees. He's like a nerd thing.
Yep, he's full nerding out on his magical alchemical nerdiness. This is outstanding, Sapphire. This is. I need more time. I need more time. There is more to this. It's not just. You said it was a healing potion.
How it was put to me is that it was an incredibly high level healing potion that should, and he crosses two of his claws, be able to help.
There is definitely healing properties to it, but I would need more time with it. And he just keeps saying extraordinary over and over again as he stares at it.
Sapphire was just like grinning, and he goes, "That's why I thought to get it here as quickly as possible."
Well, Sapphire, you made the right choice. I believe Syrin. Yes, Sensei? I believe you will go work on the potion, yes? Oh, right away. And he turns and he does his awkward bows to you all. Just looks at you, Sapphire, dives in for one more hug, and then straightens his clothes again and gets all formal and etiquette-like. Again, does the awkward bows, grabs his cart of books, and heads into the temple. Just kind of looking over his shoulder and nodding at you as he goes.
And you can see that Sapphire visibly his body relaxes a bit. When he was meditating and talking to Rin, he suddenly had doubts about the potion. So hearing that excitement from Sai is a good sign for him. He's like, oh god, I didn't just bring like a greater healing potion.
Will you be staying for tea?
Sapphire looks at the others. We probably shouldn't stay. We are, as much as I would love to, and as much as I would love to be able to show my friends around and introduce them to a land that seems so distant. We are currently borrowing the powers of the Jesuit. How would I explain that? Looks at Kess and Andrea.
The Archfey of Autumn.
Looks back at Sensei Rin.
Sensei Rin nods. Sapphire, I am old enough to know who the Jesuit is. Not personally, but we have an ancestry with the Fae, do the elves. The stories are known among our people, and it is an honour, and just kind of looks at Xandria and Kess.
Sapphire's like hasn't stopped beaming. Pretty much, he just feels like a very much. I don't know, like he almost like he's gotten praise, even though he hasn't actually said it. Just like, very good.
Well, my door is open.
Ari kind of nudges Sapphire. Go on, hug him.
Sapphire does kind of move forward a little bit.
As you
looks around.
as you step forward and hug, Sensei does that. Go on then. Just.
Sapphire quickly makes sure everyone is busy with their drills, and then quickly hugs him. Like,
You hear the Goliath and Elf who are trading, "Whee!" just shouting across to you. As Sensei Rin looks back at them, they go, "Whee!" and they go back to where You are very much the outsider and loved at this temple, Sapphire.
Sapphire stands up properly, and then after the hug, gives the proper form bow to Sensei Rin.
Sensei Rin bows lower than you do.
Now it's on.
No, that's a master praise thing. Sapphire's like, oh my god. Yeah, Sapphire. Thank you, Sensei, and thank you for continuing to guide me even when I'm not at the temple any longer.
Always, Sapphire Waters. Always.
Let me know how Sai's getting on. I think we're going to the realm of autumn. Again, looks at Zandria and Cassian with a raised eyebrow, like, that's right? Not autumn, summer. I meant to say summer.
I know where they're going. I don't know where Sapphire's going.
I mean, I think we have to go back to autumn to get to summer, so he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Pesky highways.
I do hate the M25.
How's greatest invention?
I will inform you of Sai Surin's success or failures. I'll smile for both. But if you are not staying, it's been an honour to have you in the temple. Nods at Zandria and Kess again. And a pleasure to meet you, Aristotle. And looks across at Ruby. And Ruby. Are you still entranced with the blossom leaves?
At the sound of her name, like because she wasn't raised by someone who's going to let bad manners slide, so she like pulls out long enough to go, "Oh, nice to meet you too."
Sensei Rin puts his hand out, and petals start to form in his hand, and they gather in his hand, and they form into a small mouse. Just not like complete. It's more origami with blossom petals. That's some magical shit. He uses these petals to form an origami-looking mouse, and it kind of takes life and just skitters across Ruby's shoulders and such.
Ruby is like it's like when a skilled magician performs a magic trick for a
Pulls
small
a coin
child,
out
and
your
it's
ear.
the first time they've ever seen like a proper magic trick. She's just
The blossom.
This is literally the best thing that has ever happened.
The blossom mouse leaps from your shoulder, and the blossom leaves part and flutter about.
She's literally like applauding and bouncing. Like, this is the best holiday ever.
We've been here 3 minutes. And I love it.
There's an ice cream van just down.
Don't we never get her back.
Sensei Rin just stands there. Like, okay. Bye-bye.
Sapphire bows again and starts kind of stepping backwards, turning away, trying very much not to show emotion right now as he walks back towards the trees.
You walk back through those that are training. There is a silent nod and wave from the Goliath and Elf they currently pause. They're going hell for leather at each other as they just give you a nod and a wave. No heckling, just a nod and a wave. Guess if you stroke the glyph, it will reopen and you will see the Jesuit in her rocking chair in the cabin in the woods.
That's what I do.
Woof, woof. You all appear in the cabin in the woods. Do you want a 10-minute break?
Yes, please.
Cool. So, chat. We're going to have a 10-minute break. So we'll be back at about 10 o'clock. We're just going to go... Well, I'm just going to get a drink and go to the loo. But we'll be back in 10 minutes to see what happens in the Oasis of Summer. And possibly, not possibly, maybe if Ruby gets her way in the Torn Highlands. So be back in 10 minutes. Do not leave. And if you do leave, come back. We're going back. We're on his way. We're on his way. Right, hopefully. Has it moved you all around? No, you're all in the same place. That is good. Welcome back. Second half. The viewing number hasn't dropped. Don't know if that means some people left and new people came in. However, it stayed on 10. I'm happy with that. I don't actually know what it is.
Consistency is the
Streamlabs
key
selling
to
power,
a
Jade.
successful future.
So, just before the break, you've cast your growth spell, Ruby. Fantastically done. You've gone and visited Vey and handed over what could potentially be a very powerful curative potion used to, or in Sapphire's hope, used to cure a genetically inflicted curse disease on some of the native tabaxi of the Vey dynasty. I may need to reword that sentence in the future, but we'll go with that for now. But yes, and it's been handed over, and Syrin, who is quite the skilled nerd, is going to have a look at it. You return to the cabin in the woods. Jezarit is sat in her rocking chair. She is still knitting the same item that she was when you left. How was the trip?
Their trees are the best.
You've all got like blossom leaves just on your shoulder, like snow when you're walking, just like brushing the leaves off.
Sapphire's like, big deep breath, and then it was so good being home. Thank you so much, Toodles. Is really excited and happy, and just thank you.
You're very welcome. Is there anywhere else you wish to go?
If possible, Jezarit, would you be able to send us to the Oasis of Summer, please? I think it's about time we do a check-in with Malika and our families.
I can indeed. And please, say hello to Malika for me.
Of course.
She strokes the wooden wall and the portal opens. The scent of heat, of sand, you can smell it, comes through the portal. You see several palm trees just kind of slowly bending in the air, in their natural form in the air and the wind. Beyond. Who was the last person through?
Yeah, I was going to say
Are
something.
we raising hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was having a coughing fit.
So Ari, are you last? Who was last? Was it Ari?
Yeah?
Oh, cool. As you all pass through, Ari, Toodles taps you on the shoulder to stroke the tree that you enter through, and it will return you to the cabin. As you all step through, the portal closes. Ari, you see a small glyph on the palm tree quite a wide-trunked palm tree, although you're unsure whether it's wide or narrow. You don't know a lot about palm trees, I'll be honest. You appear, and it feels very much like you did when you first entered the true fair realm of the Copper Forest, of the Autumn realm. You are all, especially the siblings, very aware that you are in a fair realm, not a material one. You all stand in the oasis of the Rahar Habun, a massive world of sprawling dunes and cities of golden splendour stretch out before you. Smaller oases pitter-patter all around. You can see from your vantage point high up on this large sand dune and the several cluster of palm trees around you that each city, town, village, hamlet, whatever you wish to call it, in the distance spreading out across this golden sunlight bathing them all. For miles and miles, you can see that the cities and towns and populaces are abundant with life and enthusiasm. There are massive palm trees that grow, twisting together to form towers that grow higher and higher like the spires of Ravenholm that you've seen in their Gothic cities. Except these are wonderful, beautiful. They inspire you with passion and inspiration to maybe one day when you grow up big and tall like your old architect parents, that you could be an architect and grow trees of palm leaf nature. Jesus, poetry at its best. These towers of palm trees that have grown and twisted around one another form living quarters. There are those that are carved into the trunks, and you see the smaller fae, the fairies, the pixies, the nixies, the little sprites, all coming out of these small, almost cave-like domiciles that have been attached to the trunk of the palm trees or carved into it. There are rope bridges of twisted orange bark joining all of these palm tree towers together, spreading out across all these multiple oases around you. There is a almost wall of desert flora that stretches away and around, and if you were at a bird's eye view, this would be like the biggest maze labyrinth type area you've ever been in, despite the openness of the oasi of the many the many oasis and palm trees all about you, the cactus, the blooming pinks and greens and blues, all flourishing from these very thick cacti plants. There are dozens and dozens of ponds, lakes, crystal clear rivers that dot about and join some of the oases. There are fair folk of all flavours, swimming, relaxing. Some of the smaller ones with their wings are skimming the surface with fast fluttering wings that's akin to a hummingbird, causing droplets of water to fly up and catch the bright sunlight, giving an abstract look of golden stars in a blue sky. There are nixies and nymphs and kelpies using water as paint as they create images of the oasis and desert moonlight, desert sunrises, desert sunsets in the very sand itself, using the sand as an artist would a canvas. There are large picnics of sorts, making Ruby smile. They are not the tartan cloths. They are soft, single colours, reds, blues, greens. Great dishes of silver and gold are placed upon them, filled with food, cold meats, brightly coloured fruits. All lay on these thin blankets, resting on the sand. There are youngling fae, digging their toes into the sand, tossing it up at one another gently, smiling, pushing each other out the way, playfully getting in to eat their fill around the fruits and the meats. There are ethereal orange and red fires dancing in the sandy glades, as if they are sentient and performing a complex ballroom dance around the small glade that they've been given to burn brightly in, surrounded by more cactus plants with these bright pink and blue blooms. You can hear stories being shared of exaggerated battles, slow romances, and victories in pretty much anything you can think of. The bragging, the showing off, the cheering, everyone getting along and on board with the idea that said battle was as great as it has been told, said romance was as most beautiful and poetic as it possibly could be. And the victories in simple things like who painted the best picture, who can run the fastest, who can sing the ballads of many, slower or faster than another. There is a lot of showing off going on, especially among these young fae. The fashion of the summer phase bright and proud and patterned with swirls and mimicking flames and rays of sunlight. There is a single standout figure down the dune that you all stand upon now, and they are stood on a palm tree as if a sailor would be on the mast. You'll understand this, Harry. Both feet on the palm tree, one arm holding the tree, and they have a very large falchion, which basically looks like a two-handed version of the scimitar, or scimitars, that Caspian wields, and they are holding it out in front of them. This creature is very rare and only been seen by a few. Ruby, you will recognise what this is, as will the siblings. Sapphire and Ari, you have never seen, you can just assume it is fair. But what the other three see is a furbolg. Kesrion and Xandria, you know this to be Hakayan Iron Meadow. And you see them holding themselves up, halfway up the tree, falchion out, holding onto the trunk of the tree. And then they let go, and they still stand there, as if stuck, like a spider. And they put their hand to their forehead, and they're looking out across the sand. And they're clearly spinning a tail, and they leap down from the trunk, and they spin slowly, telling a story through a dance with their blades. Having met Killane and your time in the Copper Forest, and your knowledge of the Oasis of the Raha Abun, you are Kesrion and Xandria. You know that Hakayan Iron Meadow is the Killane Lancelord of Summer. He is the guardian of the Raha Abun. All the Fae around him are in absolute awe, puppy dog eyes, listening to every word, watching every spin. Hakayan has long sky blue hair with streaks of carrot orange through it, falling past their shoulders and moving free all about them as they blade dance. He wears a loose shirt and trousers that match both the colour of gold and sand, with swirling cactus green butterflies decorating them. And he spots you all and waves and carries on his blade dance for his audience. Party, you are currently in the fair realm of Summer, the Oasis of the Raha Abun. What do you wish to do?
Nerd out over cat. Sorry, but there is just enough sense in Ruby to ask the siblings if she should be wearing a bonnet, because Ruby got sunstroke once.
Yeah, that's a better Oasis.
Ruby has
Uh-oh.
actually frozen.
Ruby
She's
is in
actually
awe.
frozen now.
And she
Yeah.
doesn't want it again.
It's fine. It's
I
fine, Ruby.
heard you
It's
all
fine.
say I'd frozen.
We heard you finish your sentence eventually. It's fine.
Eventually, yeah.
So the heat
It might be
here,
I
a
heard you
wee
all say
while
that.
before we
Okay.
get the next one, but we'll get there.
the heat here is very present, but you don't feel its burn because of the fair realm. I will change that description when you enter the actual desert. So
It's
what are
okay, no one's in full plate.
Yep. No, we're good.
I mean, Ruby's in a lot
Stop interacting, Ruby.
of
Just-
layers of
Yeah.
wool and tweed.
It's not like sending a whole party to a desert, is it now? Throwback to other campaign.
So what are you doing for?
Making our way down
Downtown?
the
Down.
dune.
Yep. Heading towards where Xandria knows Malika will probably be.
So the true court of Summer, which compared to the cabin in the woods is essentially that. You are aware that the Malika has her own cabin, as it were, but it is a what's the word? It is its own oasis within the oasis. You follow Xandria, she heads straight there. There doesn't seem to be many twists and turns, and as you pass over the sand, it is comfortable and soft and makes you walk at a funny angle because it's not quite flat, but at no point are you uncomfortable. There is a cluster of palm trees in front of you, not very big, and they kind of lean in towards each other, shielding what's beyond them. if you were to walk to the left and right, it just looks like more sand, more oasis, more presence of Fae doing whatever it is they may be doing during this permanent summer state. Zandria walks straight up to the palm trees, and they kind of bend back away from her, showing in front of you a tunnel of green with bright orange orbs just flicking around, and sprites pushing these orbs back and forwards to each other, very tiny. At the end of this tunnel, which, apart from Kesvion and Zandria, you'd swear there's nothing on the other side, but it's fair magic, so you accept it. You can see that it opens out into a massive, massive oasis. And it is, what you see now is an enclosed oasis. All the flora kind of grows high, and the huge leaves fold over each other, causing this dome. In front of you there are huge, like lily pad leaves floating about in the water that cause the walkway that leads up to a very grand and grown, almost royal looking water float. And you can see all around the oasis itself, the waters of the oasis, that there are pinks and blues, reds, oranges, just kind of these little flowers just floating on top of the water. All around you see sprites, hundreds and hundreds of sprites, tiny little dots of glitter flickering around, pushing these red and orange orbs backwards and forwards, giving a continuous motion in the air around you. The air itself is perfect. It is not cold, it is not hot, but it feels on the cusp of either. Zandria walks forwards, pauses for a moment, and sees that the lily pads kind of form a path up to where this royal, grand, grown area is, and you can see the chair. Several cactus formed around it, but you feel that the spines of this cactus would not affect whoever sat nearby. You see smaller palm trees form in the stumps, the front tower bits of a throne, and you see the thrones kind of grow back and palm leaves hang over. Sat there is a very striking individual. They have taken many forms, especially for Zandria in her time of serving, but they are very striking. They're elven. They have an elven shape to their ears that is incredibly long, and there are earrings all up the backside of both ears. These ears must be a foot and a half long, reaching all the way back. Their hair is auburn, dark brown, bright orange near some of the roots, and then you see streaks of red as it comes high and then down in a bit of a top, not top knot, but when the is tightly bound here and then comes out of the top. And the little tiara of blue and pink cactus blooms formed around their forehead. The robes they are wearing seem to merge and mingle with this throne that they are sat upon. But as you focus and concentrate, you can see the outline of where their shoulders and arms are, and it is indeed a very, almost really long, large poncho that reaches their feet, and they've just put their head in through their arms and they sit forwards. And you can see now that the emerald green of the robe stands apart from the cactus and palm leaves that form their throne. The filigree that's all about the robes mimics that of the stars that you saw outside, these golden water droplets backed against the sky blue, just filigreed in this emerald robe. And this very striking, Arikam yourself, fair elf before you, Kes, Zandria, you see before you Malika, the Archfey of Summer.
Upon becoming in the presence of Malika, Zandria will drop to a knee, head bowed, as a show of, obviously, respect.
Sapphire go down on one knee as well. Head bowed, learning.
Do you all one knee?
Yeah.
Yep.
You see them sit back, pleased. Rise, and welcome to the Oasis. Zandria, it has been a while, my dear girl.
It has indeed been a while, Malika. I hope you are well.
I am. And who might these morsels be? Sorry, mortals be.
Zandria will gesture to Ari. And this, Malika, is Lord Aristotle Sebastian Rycroft of the House of Eagles of Ravenholm. This is Ruby. I can never say your second name.
Irwin.
Irwin.
Steve's daughter.
Steve's daughter. Ruby Irwin of the Torn Highlands.
We will give a polite greeting in Sylvan.
There is a nod and a smile.
And the Leonine here is Sapphire Waters of the Vigonian and Vey dynasty.
And to what do I owe the honour of them in my oasis?
They were simply following me. I felt it was important that I come and have a word with you, if that is all right. If you do not wish them to be here, then I'm sure Kesvion can lead them out.
They are your pets. They can stay or go as you please.
Sapphire's mouth opens as if he's going to say something and he just closes it. Conversation for later.
We're in autumn now, motherfuckers.
Ruby's got it enough together to not giggle every time they're referred to as morsels and pets. But there's like a little bit of a twitch.
Ari is on full. I'm in danger this way.
The Jesuit sent her regards as well.
Ah, poor Jess. I believe the satire is in charge now.
She is. I am certain you are aware of the situation with the Copper Forest.
I am aware that it finally fell.
Did you perchance know that it was due to fall?
It has always been due to fall. It is its job. When we are finished, they will fall. Winter will devour. Spring will give us life. And we will show all how to live life.
I see. So there was never really any reason for Kesvion and myself to go and try and defend the Copper Forest then, was there? If it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Correct?
Will it regrow?
Yes.
Then you have defended the Copper Forest. You are there to make sure the Copper Forest does not die. It is not dead.
I understand.
If you had failed, my oasis would have devoured you, sweet Zandria.
Your oasis may not have devoured me, but I still do not feel worthy of your gifts, Malika.
And you believe your worthiness is your choice?
No.
Can you summon my glaive?
I have not tried in some time.
Try.
And Zandria will put her hand out in front of her. Just
Now
try
I
and
have a
summon.
question for Zandria.
Yeah.
Does she want it to work?
Ooh.
Or is she in hope it works? There you go, and there's a roleplay question for you right there.
There's a roleplay question right there.
Does Zandria, like, you are aware of what Zandria's mind state is?
Mind state, yeah. Oh god, see, Zandria's so still very conflicted with the whole death and woodcutter situation that she's not certain that she can quite rightly wield the power of Malika and the woodcutter. Like, do you know, like, where it's like, oh, well, technically you can only follow one religion, that sort of thing. There's only one deity, even though we know there's more than one deity. It's that, but it's that thing of, well, can she wield the power of Malika's Summer and whatever the woodcutter is?
You want to roll for it?
Yeah, sure.
Roll me a percentile dice. So do
Oh, God.
And I will do the same.
Do I have... Ooh, actually, I'm not certain of where my percentile dice is.
Just, you got a D10?
Yeah, I've got a D10.
Just roll it twice. First one your 10, second one your digits.
Right, thank you. I do have 2 of those.
Then how will she get 100? Sorry.
You have to roll really fucking well.
Well, the first number on the first dice is an 8. And the second one is a 7, so 87.
87. You reach out your hand, and Malika, the patron of Xandria Summerbreeze, you call forth your packed weapon, the glaive, a gift for you from your patron. And as the ethereal smoke goes from your hand and starts to form in front of you, it takes the shape of a double-bladed axe, looking very much like the one you just acquired. And you summon
technically acquired.
Technically.
Still in the shop.
And you have a great axe in your hand, double-bladed, and you can see the green leaves all around it, and the silver blade.
That poor
Malika.
shopkeeper's going to be losing his shit. Looking and suddenly, poof.
I've been robbed! I've been fucking robbed!
it's like Loba's power from Apex when he puts the shop up and everything goes.
Just going to turn up and be like, I've got your armour, but
Your axe is gone.
your axe is gone. Malika smiles. Well, it's not the glaive.
No, but I suppose the glaive would represent my past, and I suppose this represents my future.
That's right, Drea, style it out.
That was pretty smooth.
Extra points.
May I? And she steps forward. You're still about 30 feet from her, but she just takes like one step and axe cheek off the throne, and she's in your face like, shimmy. And she just holds her hand out for the axe.
Right. Hand her the axe.
She holds the axe and she just moves it around. It weighs nothing to her, it would seem. And she puts it back and smiles. How is dear Ulrich?
Currently
And she's back in her throne.
being held, awaiting his fate.
Did he finally turn on dear mother? A shame. His, not mine, as she looks at your faces. Or they look at your faces, sorry.
He said he needed to do this, and he accomplished that. And whilst the Jesuit obviously does not feel he should be punished for what he committed, the Lords and Representatives of Ravenholm felt otherwise.
And she laughs. Mortals and their politics.
Their ball gowning is quite ridiculous.
It is weak. No offence, dear Ari.
Oh no, you, by all means, Malika, please, continue.
You can go ahead and take that laugh as an icy thing as well, because
Yeah. She stares at you, Xandria, as you say that, and then stares at Ari. Stares back at you. Just raises an eyebrow. You'll have to imagine it, because I can't do it.
Yep. I'm just gonna look at Malika and just go, don't. Please.
Don't worry, Xandria. I have many times. You're not the only one to dabble.
I would hardly call it doubling.
Shame. Pretty, this one.
Until he opens his mouth.
And how are you, Casfion? Summer breeze?
Kess had quite been enjoying just this
Just standing there.
just not being in the line of fire, quite frankly. As I've been keeping well as possible, Malika.
Still belong to me, do you? Still walking the summer path?
Still walking the summer paths.
I can accept this. So you wished a word, dear axe bearer of summer.
I am uncertain how much longer we will be away from protecting the Oasis. There are still things that need to be done and completed within Ravenhall.
Does it protect the Forest of Copper?
Yes.
Then you are still upon your story as requested.
Then that is all I needed to inform you about. I just wanted to make sure that that was still the correct path, and you have confirmed that.
Unless there is anything else, you may leave. And she just sits back, or they just sit back. Fuck's sake. They just sit back in their throne.
Xandria just gives a low bow, and then kind of like eyes the rest of them to kind of like just
Oh no, like they're 100% doing big
Oh, yeah.
bow.
and then
They-
shuffling them.
They point at Harry. But you will stay a while.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So whilst Xandria is shuffling the rest of them out first and leaving Arya there, she just puts a hand on Arya's shoulder and just leans into his ear and just goes, incredibly polite, please.
Don't die!
Sorry. I know. Yep.
And then
Ruby will give a polite, whatever the opposite of a greeting is.
A goodbye.
Look, it's late.
I know.
You've got made her so angry. She's
frozen.
She's frozen again.
I'm assuming
Frozen in rage.
Ruby's got like a bit more to that sentence, but I couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So while Ruby returns to us,
and I've shuffled the rest of them out.
the
Yeah.
trees, the palm trees close behind you, and again you are in.
I was
this
enjoying the
beautiful-
descriptions of everything. I was quite happy over here. I'm
Leave
like,
me
corner.
alone. Even in Raven,
In Sylvan again.
it's all right. We're good. Oh, she's left. Hopefully,
Is that
she's
all?
back. She's back. So, at the use of Sylvan, there is a nod and a smile to you, Ruby, as you leave. The palm leaves close, and you are all back out in the theme park of the Oasis, rather than the manager's room. And Harry, you're stood there in front of the Archfey of Summer. They get off the throne, and they don't just appear in front of you. They walk towards you, and as they get closer, they feel like they get taller and take up more of the space around you. Will she care if I take your life?
I just kind of look up at her and speak in Sylvan. And
Motherfucker.
he can. Well, he's seen that he actually
Puts a
likes
pair of
Sylvan, he has to be
sunglasses
polite.
on. You know what I mean?
He'll look up at her and just be like, I think so.
Would you care if I took her life? She leans real close to your face now. You can feel her breath on yours. It is sweet. It is very, very enticing.
Very much.
Give me a charisma saving throw. It's fucking high, Archfey.
Fucking. Where's my sheet?
We have 0
18.
rerolls.
18?
I know. 18.
2 seconds. As she's that close to you, you feel that you want to kiss her. Them. Sack me now. You wish to kiss them. They don't move, and they stare into your eyes, and you are falling madly, madly in love with this archway of summer in front of you. Your lips are about a millimetre from theirs, but you don't kiss. Malika pulls away. That is a rare thing, Aristotle of Ravenholm. My people and your people love quick and short, fast. It's fleeting. It is but a fire that burns bright and dies to ashes. But you will not die fast, will you, Aristotle? And they walk around you. There is life attached to your being. Long life. Yet you smell of human. And they start looking at things on you, like your jewellery or whatever, your sword, your belts, your boots, just looking for something. What is it that keeps you here for so long?
I've been told many things. I was brought up in Ravenholm, as Sandria mentioned, and I always believed I was human. I was raised that way, but recently have been told that there may be some fae in my ancestry, and then my sword has said that I may have a long life.
Malika just starts laughing loud. It echoes around this hall, but not in a high-pitched echo, just in a soft. You
Oh,
could
that's
listen.
terrifying.
You could listen to it all day, but don't want to. Interesting. But don't die, Aristotle of Ravenholm, for Xandria will bring the wrath of summer on those that kill you, and they may not deserve it.
I will try my very best not to die.
As you're speaking, they put their finger on your chin and just start tilting your head as if examining you. Can you step through the mists?
I can.
Show me. And just nods across the waters. That pad there. It's about 25 feet away.
It's convenient. How convenient.
It's
He will misty step
35.
to the lily pad.
Poof, poof, and you appear on the lily pad. Impressive. You may leave. And just goes and sits back on the throne. And the palm trees on this side part a little, showing you the entrance, or the exit even.
Yeah. He will, I guess, misty step back because
You can
Yeah.
swim in the waters if you want.
No, doesn't
Okay,
trust
okay.
anything right now. This boy brought up on the
Harry's
story of
lady.
the Fae.
Do you leave the courtroom?
Yes.
Palm leaves part, and you see your lovely friends outside, all with glasses to the leaves.
Kind of wait until he's a little bit away from there, knowing that he can probably be heard anyway because it's in her oasis. I just be like, yeah, I was very polite, and they were very terrifying.
They're really cool.
Now you understand why I am so formal with the Jesuit, even though they request casual conversations and gestures. Not every Fae and Archfey is like the Jesuit.
Definitely reminds me of the stories I was told, yes.
Yes. It is the wrath of summer.
But we live to breathe and fight another day.
Thankfully. But I suppose this is good news.
Xandri, and Kess, you are aware that when you leave the realm, you are able to leave where you wish to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we have cleared the stuff that needed to be cleared with Malika, I suppose we can try and find the tribe. Shouldn't be too difficult. We've got a vague idea.
There are small stone arches at various small ponds of water, and it is these archways that you simply walk through and appear in the material realm. And it's that whole click your heels 3 times and want to go home. You can go where you wish to go, whether that be to a person or to a place.
So Sandria will go up to the archers and then kind of stop, turn around and look at Sapphire, Ruby and Ari and say, it is going to get increasingly hot once we step through back into the material realms. Just pray that we end up close to the tribe and not stuck in the middle of the desert.
Well, out of character, Ada, you'd said that we would, like, presumably
shed-
they would know that they can go to a person.
You can go to
Or
a
like-
person or a place, yeah.
Yeah.
So you are aware of their general vicinity. It would be on the southern borders of Portamere.
Portamere.
But
Yeah.
obviously, accurately, you could just go daddy or mummy or...
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
yeah.
question, would this, just because as we have not actually been here before, but obviously this is stuff our characters would probably know, like, will this obviously open a portal that we can all cross through?
Yes, so it is a...
So we're not having to, like, try and give a
it's a- yeah,
description of
yeah.
a particular
Can you,
tree
they've
to,
got long
like-
hair, one blue eye. Yeah, wooden leg. You open the portal for 6 seconds, essentially around.
Yeah. Cool.
It is one way, and there are different methods for the summer fair to get back into the oasis.
So Drea will go up to the archway and she will call out the name of her father, which is Solomon.
As you put your hand on the stone, and you say Solomon, you
Solomon
see
Summer Breeze.
Solomon
just
Summer Breeze.
we'll make it specific.
just the one. Just all right.
There's one single Solomon in the entire.
You see Sylvan all over the rocks and the stonework of the archway just light up from nothing. Those that speak Sylvan, it is words of transportation, of home, of the hearth, of the fire, of the sand, of the dune, etc., etc. And it shimmers. The water from the pond behind it kind of comes up and forms a film on the archway, creating the watery portal in the stone arch. And beyond it, you see a nomadic camp. I say nomadic, it looks like a camp that would probably be nomadic. You recognise many of the colours of the clothing and the tents there. It looks instantly like the camps you've seen 1,000 times that you and Keswin have helped set up yourselves. And you see, teaching a young group of geckos. Give me a sec.
Did you forget his name?
No, I don't forget his name.
Oh, it's
I
alright.
forgot. Tall, obviously this is for the other 3. Very tall, wielding a scimitar and a shield that is like a figure of 8, kind of cut in the middle. They are in greens and whites, the white silk trousers, a green shirt. Their hair is short at the sides and kind of raises high. Not quite as high as Johnny Bravo. They are similar to Kesvion and Xandria and many of the Fae you've met already. They have a natural affinity to be attractive to the beholder, however that may be interpreted by your character. But they are indeed instructing a group of young geckos in the art form of sword and shield. And there are many other folk in the clothing of the desert around this camp. Kesvion and Xandria Summerbreeze. You see Solomon Summerbreeze, your father, beyond the portal. Do you step through?
Yep.
As you step through, you feel the wetness on your face. It is refreshing and cool. Xandria and Kes, you are Fae of the desert. You are very accustomed to the heat and its environment, but it is still fuck hot. Ruby, Sapphire, you will feel it first, more than any of them. Ruby, your lairs are not welcome in this hellish land. Sapphire, Satan themselves has just handed you a stick to do horrible things to yourself with. Harry,
Sapphire enters a rage.
Ruby was already shedding her thicker cloaks and stuff, but she's now down to
Ruby can literally taste it.
Ruby is now down to what in any other realm she would not dream of wearing in front of other people. She's down to her best.
Harry, this reminds you of the stone houses in Ravenholm and some of the cities where they heat the stones like saunas to give you a steam room effect. But it is not wet heat. It is on you, in your face, bullying you as soon as you step out of that portal.
The Sapphire will probably not strip down too much, but definitely the top half of the kimono is coming off, like dangling at his waist. And he just holds his weapon instead of where it was obviously slung on his back. He's just holding it with the blade pointed down, so it's not threatening.
And he just starts piling like cloaks and things into like his little bag, just being like,
Ruby, chill touch. That was a thing, right?
Just keep doing it.
I've got
Cone of Ice, Cone of Cold.
Cone of Cold, yeah.
Cone of Cold. Put me out of it.
Once Ruby gets down to like a layer of cotton as opposed to like multiple tweed and layers, she actually seems to be quite enjoying it. It's like, this is summer holidays. This is obviously still hotter than high summer in Toa, but it's...
Be careful.
Yeah, for those people that faints as soon as it gets above 25 centigrade, she's quite happy once she's shed a few layers. She's like, yes, sunglasses on.
Sunglasses on, ice pop. Harry's got his jacket round his waist, shirt just open a little bit, just rehearsing for his Diet Coke advert, you know what I mean? Scorching hot, sweat pouring down his face, slowly and artistically, like a normal person. Sapphire's in a shithole. Sapphire just wishing there was a Diet Coke advert right now so I could have it. Before you was the camp, and to those familiar to it, you see the tribe of the Al-Haris, home to Xandria and Kesvion. Your father is about 50 feet from where you step from the portal, and you can see all the tents, all the canvas, the lean-tos, the wooden poles. There are lots and lots of lean-tos protecting from the summer heat. I say summer heat, desert heat, sun. Desert sun. It's hot.
Fucking hot.
Fucking hot, I tell you.
So, Drea sees her father obviously teaching with his sword and shield, and she just resummons her great axe.
That's what it does.
And she just sprints at him with her axe, intent to hit him.
Okay.
We're hitting everyone.
So as you go rushing towards your father,
I make it very obvious that I'm approaching for an attack, just to scare the whippersnappers.
I was about to say it's the scared whippersnappers that alert your father to turn and see his daughter running towards him with a great axe.
Yeah.
He takes stance, brings shield, sword high, and waits the attack. Roll your attack.
Here's a problem. Don't have an axe in my
It's the same as your lance. You are proficient with the great axe.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I took the lance out of my inventory.
So it is your strength and proficiency. So what's your strength?
Strength is 13.
So +1. What's your proficiency?
+3.
So
Proficiency plus 4.
So you're a D20. So total, you're a D20 plus 5.
Oh yeah, I'm on a +4 too. Yeah.
5. 24.
24. As you go to hit your father, you realise the blow's going to land until his eyes flash blue, and you hit the arcane shield that goes up in front of him as he turns past and around you. Do you get 2 attacks? I don't think you do you?
I don't think I do. I think I only have attacks per action 1.
Yeah. So your great axe comes down and hits the arcane shield that he puts up, otherwise you would have landed quite squarely your great axe upon your father. He then flicks out with the scimitar. 20. Unnatural.
Yeah, well, I mean, her armor is 12.
No, you don't have anything.
Don't have any armor at the moment.
You take 1 point of damage as he nicks your neck with the scimitar. You want more, daughter?
Well, I merely meant to scare your students. I didn't realise you were actually going to hit me, father.
You scared them and I, wielding such a... What is that? Well, he knows what it is.
Yeah, just look
It's
at...
not what you
look at
left
him.
with.
Yeah.
Look at the...
It's not quite the summer glaive.
It's the dad. It's the dad. What is that? It's the what are you wearing? It's like you
Yeah.
can see very well what it is. It's the dad. What is that?
Yeah. No, you are quite right. It is not the summer lance. It is... I'm not even certain what it is at this point. The summer, autumn, the axe, who knows, father?
Care to greet more formally?
Oh, for you, of course.
He steps forward, and as he steps forward to embrace Andrea, he spins one spin, puts the scimitar away, puts the shield over his back, and it shrinks and looks like a golden scarab on his back. And he just embraces Zandria and hugs her tight.
She reciprocates the hug. Like, in a fashion none of the others bar Kess has actually seen Zandria show. There is actually a smile on her face.
I love this
Proper
guy.
strong hug.
Yeah. Pats you down, steps back, and he holds you by the shoulders, kisses you on the forehead. So where is he? And just looks around for Guestville.
She just points behind.
Goes towards Kess. Son! Just opens his arms.
And Kess will go sprinting. down
Leap
the
through
rest
the
of it.
air! And there is a big embrace as well from Solomon to Kess. In equal measure of Zandria. There are no favourites in the desert. But it's definitely Zandria.
Wow.
A small child.
Yeah. Well, how are you? Speak to me. Who are these? Who is that? What is...
What is it?
Don't say what is that, father. That is a rude thing to say to poor Aristotle.
And goes up to Sapphire and goes, my apologies, Aristotle. I was,
No, father.
She
I
told us.
pointed at the one with the long hair that looks like a human that is a human.
Sapphire's really trying not to laugh.
And
Like,
there's two of
imme-
us with long hair that look like humans.
Looks back at Ruby and Harry. My apologies,
This is
Aristotle.
Sapphire
And just adds an S.
Waters.
Just adds an S on the end.
Oh, jeez.
Sapphire Waters, a pleasure. Welcome,
Ruby's having a
welcome
lovely
to the
time. She's
Alvarez.
finding this hilarious.
Thank you for having us.
Not had you yet. And just kind
What?
of pats you on the shoulder. No? Oh, well,
I mean,
teach you that one later.
okay.
And who's this stands in front of Harry?
This is
Oh, this,
Aristotle.
This is Aristotle. Pleased to meet you, Aristotle. I'm Solomon Summerbreeze, father of these two wonderful bastards.
Yes,
And-
sir.
And this is Ruby.
Just before it leans into Xandria and goes, did he just call me sir?
Yes.
Strange
He'll
folk.
be terrified of you.
Strange
Play on
folk.
it. Play on
Strange
it.
folk.
Play on it, Father.
Yes. It is king. It is your majesty to you, peasant. Just nudges Xandria with a smile.
Might have gone too far, Father.
I jest. Looks at Ruby. Wow. An incredible beauty for such a young human. Despite the fashion choice. Tree. You notice that behind him now, there's like 6 geckos, about 3 foot high, 4 foot high. They remind you a lot of lizard halflings, Ruby. And they're all in similar desert attire, and they've all got wooden shields and wooden swords. And they're just all about him, just kind of looking around, seeing these new people turn up.
Ruby gives again this like with massive grin on face, a very polite sylvan greeting, and a comment that she sees where Kess and Xandria get their looks from. It's obviously from their mother.
He in Sylvan agrees.
Does everyone speak this language but me? Sapphire looks around at the party, had not
Only
realised.
so.
Sandria in Sylvan replies, yes.
In
Do not
Viconian,
bully him.
in Viconian, Solomon says to Sapphire, "Do not worry, my friend. All will learn the language one day. Join me for a drink."
He replies in Viconian, I'd be honoured. He's very surprised by this.
Are they staying for a drink, Sandria? Casriel? Does your mother know you're back?
No, you are. Well, I was about to say you are the first person that we've seen. That's technically allowed. We've seen Malika,
Oof,
but
yes.
you are the first person other
If your
than
mother
Malika.
asks, you saw her first.
That doesn't work because
Lie for your father.
but
No?
she's gonna know. You know she's going to know.
I will leave. For you. Come. And he just walks away.
And then Xandria just leans in like towards Kess and goes. He does realize she will know instantly. Yeah.
Oh, why you did not choose mother first is we'll survive it.
In your mind, Xandria, you hear, "Yes, daughter, I will know."
Oh shit!
But it is soft. It is a welcoming voice.
She knows.
Followed by, "Please come to the home tent. And so I can lay
Hold
eyes
on,
upon you." Yeah.
Charles Xavier.
A wheelchair just comes out with your mother on it.
So Xandria kind of like gathers up everyone and just kind of starts shuffling. Come on. We have to go. We have to leave.
Going around the Nomadic Camp, you see your home tent, the one that your family lives and breathes as they travel around the 6-7 countries of the continent of Surut. You can see in the distance... Can you? We'll get back to that. You enter the canvas bell tent. Your father's nowhere to be seen. You saw him wander off when he said, "Come, follow." Where he went, you don't know. But you enter the canvas tent. You see these sleeping areas still put out every single night by your mother and father for yourselves for your return. And then you also see their sleeping area. And then you see the cushions and such that are put around the main pole of this bell tent. And there's several little tea cups and such put around, and the water skins. And then you see off to one side your father's workshop area where he maintains weaponries and such and tinkers with arcane items and such, very much like his scarab shield. Stood there in blues and golds, again traditional desert wear, Her hair similar to your father's, that it's short at the sides and kind of goes straight up. Piercing blue eyes to match the blue and gold of their clothing. A shield resting similar style again, that figure 8, with a golden blue filigree across the silver metalwork of it. You see your mother, Zerin. She stands there tall, proud. A single tear rolls down her cheek as you and Kesvion enter the tent, followed by your 3 stooges.
3 pets.
She simply steps into you both, and pulls you both into a hug, full on squeezing you, running out of oxygen, and then releases you, holding still one hand on each cheek of both of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dear, dear children. I'm so happy to see you return. Please sit, bring your friends. And she immediately goes around and pours out water into these small teacups and passes it around, seeing that the 3 of them are... Well, Ruby's enjoying the discomfort, but not discomfort. Ari is still finding his catwalk. Sapphire is the catwalk.
Before Ruby
She's gone again.
drinks any of her own, Ruby looks at Sapphire and... Tell me when I'm back.
You're back. And you're gone.
There you go.
And away.
Let's assume Ruby says something to Sapphire. Sandra. What were you going to say?
Zandria just obviously looks at her mother and says, "It is good to be back, if just for a little while. And I am sorry that I did not come to you first and that we went to Father first. But I did just think, you know, it might not be the best idea to suddenly come through a portal."
I'm back, yeah.
Nope.
Nope, she's gone.
Nope.
Oh, she's super gone.
Carry
I
on,
think
Sandra.
I'm back. I can hear you again.
Yeah?
Are you giving water to Sapphire?
She's just gone again.
Cool.
Gone again?
Zandria.
She's gone again.
No,
Anyway.
when Sapphire is given...
Keep going, Zandria. Just
Yeah.
soldier through. Push through.
Anyway, what was I saying? I did not think it was wise to come through a portal immediately from the Oasis straight into home, where I assumed you would probably be, whereas I had a feeling Father would be outside, and therefore it might just be easier to port to him first.
As you say that, you notice Ruby give Sapphire a look when a fae gives them a drink.
Sapphire was literally waiting until conversation stopped to ask if it was freely given. He has learned a little.
Of course. She says to Sapphire, and back to Zandria.
It's back at the rest of the party for confirmation. Then he drinks.
You may not die of dehydration.
Yeah.
Very wise to choose your father first. It will make him smile. So, for good, or do we have you? No, still the story to tell.
Yes, we are merely here for a quick visit. We still have work that needs to be completed within Ravenholm.
Time enough to talk, or?
Oh yes, time enough to talk. I would think we could be here for a few hours.
That warms my heart. More than the desert sun. Just looks at the other 3. Nobody's laughing? Okay. Kesvion, I would like a
Yes?
word in private.
Oh no. Zandria verbally.
That does
oh,
kind
no.
of bring on that any time that your mother is like, "Oh, words,"
In
just like the
private.
sheer 8-year-old terror that you never quite lose, regardless of what age you get to.
Zandria
Yes.
just puts that solemn hand on Kes, just. Well, it was lovely having a brother whilst I had one.
Remember me fondly.
I will.
Well, please, there are so many people that will speak to you around the camp, Andrea, and introduce your friends. Your father is teaching the young geckos.
Oh, I'm aware. I think I scared them already.
I am You need to stop doing that.
But it's
I
so
have
fun.
sad news of Rek. Rek passed a few months ago, defending the camp. You know.
We know.
I will ask another time, but for now I wish a conversation with your brother.
Very well. Let's go, guys. I'll show you around home, and then we can pray Kess lives.
As
And then I usher them out.
They all leave the tent, and you're left alone, Gasvion, with your mother, Zerin Summerbreeze. She just stares at you with a smile on her face, just kind of tilts her head, examining you, and you see that pride beaming from her. Well, it probably makes you feel a little bit awkward. While you've been gone, me and your father have been talking. A conversation caused by a near-death experience, as it happens. Wolves attacked myself and your father, and we nearly lost him. But, well, we didn't. And he told me I should give you this. And she goes to where their sleeping areas, and she pulls out a small chest, and she picks up an amulet, and she comes over to you, and she gives you this amulet. No rope, no chain, no nothing, just the amulet itself. And it is stylized in the image of waves of water crashing together with a sea serpent at its center. I've walked many dreams. Myself and Sahar, we visited the Sapphire Pyramid in Portamia. They allowed us to walk its paths in a realm that only a few have a skill to traverse. This amulet was with you when you first joined our family, and she kind of just touches your cheek. I searched those dreams. Sahar protected me while we walked to nightmares. It is the family crest of a royal court of Fae, known as the Unseelie Aqueous. She kind of just pauses for a moment. Nobody knows of this court. I have asked many of the tribes as we've met them along the way. I've even asked Malika for word, and all that we know is the Unseelie Fae, whether this court or any other, are ancient, eldritch to some, thought gone or at least hidden so far from this world that they would never be seen again. And they were here before the seasons, before we came to be, and kind of gestures, like half-heartedly, like pauses as she gestures towards you and then the rest of the camp. It is an old court. I do not know what it means, my beautiful son, but your father and I think you should have this amulet. If you wish to seek its origins, its history, we are here. If you wish to toss it to the sands to be forgotten, it is your choice. But you should not live your life and your story without knowing that, for whatever reason, you carried this amulet on the day you joined our family. And that's where we're going to call the session, because it's 11:10.
Yeah. So it is.
So, 11:10, my apologies players, I just wanted to get to a natural finish and give Kesfion a week to think about how he's going to react to that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you very much. Again, it was another talky session, don't worry, there will be much Roll20 and battle maps and dice killing everyone all over the place. We're going to go away now for a week. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching it on YouTube, or it'll be on Twitch for forevermore. Just enjoy yourselves, take care of yourselves. I'll be releasing it so everyone can see it again. And hopefully we'll see you all next Tuesday. and tell us all about your friend. Tell your friends all about us. Don't
Tell us
tell
all
us all
about
about
your
your
friends.
friends. Best PR ever.
Well, there's a Mel and
There's
an
so
Amy
many.
and a Katie and a Sean and a Jade.
Right. Take care of yourselves. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, players. Sorry for the going late. But for now, say good night, players.
Good
Good night,
night,
players.
Bye-bye, folks.